Was geht ab, meine Damen und Herren? Herzlich willkommen zu einem neuen Video an diesem schönen Donnerstag. I forgot what day it was there. As you can probably hear, I am still feeling a little bit under the weather, but unfortunately, there is simply too much going on in the world right now, and I feel compelled to let my one subscriber know how I feel about it all. So, kommen wir gleich zum heutigen Thema, und zwar Manöver mit Chinesen im japanischen Meer. Russen Kampfjets stören Bidens Asienreise. So it says, Chinese maneuver in the Sea of Japan. Russian fighter jets disrupt Biden's trip to Asia. US-Präsident Joe Biden 79 winkt aus der Air Force One. US President Joe Biden 79 waves from Air Force One. This verb winken is what's called a false cognate because so a false cognate is a word that looks similar in two different languages, but it has a different meaning. So in this case, this verb winken looks very similar to the English verb wink. So you might see that and just assume it means wink, but it actually means to wave. So another example of this is the German word sensibel, S-E-N-S-I-B-E-L. So you might see that and think that it is equivalent to the English word sensible, but sensibel actually means sensitive, which is different than sensible. So, yeah, you gotta watch out for those false cognates, because they'll get you. Ist das der nächste große Konfliktherd der Weltpolitik? US-Präsident Joe Biden sagte auf seiner Asienreise, im Falle eines Angriffs Chinas auf Taiwan würden die USA dem Inselstaat militärisch beistehen. Das schlägt international Wellen. China wirft Biden vor, mit dem Feuer zu spielen, sich aber dabei selbst zu verbrennen. Yikes. Washington spiele die Taiwan-Karte, um China in Schach zu halten, erklärte die Sprecherin des Büros für Taiwan-Angelegenheiten. I'm so sorry, I'm gonna butcher this. Zufänglien, laut einem Bericht der staatlichen Nachrichtenagentur, I'm gonna butcher this. Xinhua am Montag. Auf die Frage einer Journalistin, ob die USA sich, anders als beim russischen Angriffskrieg gegen die Ukraine, militärisch beteiligen könnten, um Taiwan zu verteidigen, hatte Biden zuvor gesagt, ja. Und fügte dann hinzu, das ist die Verpflichtung, die wir eingegangen sind. So, starting up top here, it says, is this the source or the focus of the next great geopolitical conflict? That's a good question. US President Joe Biden said during his trip to Asia that should China launch an attack on Taiwan, the US would defend the island nation militarily. This is making waves internationally. Das schlägt internationale Wellen. China has accused Biden of, quote, playing with fire and that he himself will get burned in the process. Washington is supposedly playing the, quote, Taiwan card, China at bay, explains Zhu Fenglian, spokesperson at the Taiwan Affairs Office. This according to a report on Monday from the state-run news agency Xinhua. When asked previously by a journalist whether the US, unlike with Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine, would, quote, get involved militarily to, quote, defend Taiwan, Biden said, yes. He then added, quote, that's the commitment we made. Chinesisch-russische Militärübung im japanischen Meer. It says Chinese-Russian military exercise in the Sea of Japan. That doesn't sound too good. Hört sich nicht so gut an. Das sorgt bei Chinas diktatorischer Führung offenbar für Zorn. Und passend dazu gab es auch gleich eine militärische Übung mit Russland. Russland und China haben gemeinsame Patrouillenflüge in der Asien-Pazifik-Region abgehalten. Die Übung habe rund 13 Stunden gedauert, teilte das russische Verteidigungsministerium am Dienstag mit. Unter anderem seien strategische Bomber beider Streitkräfte beteiligt gewesen. Überflogen wurden Gebiete des japanischen Meers und des ostchinesischen Meers. Im Flugschatten der Jets hätten sich zeitweise Flugzeuge der japanischen und südkoreanischen Luftwaffe befunden. Japans Verteidigungsminister Nobuo Kishi, these names are so hard, zeigte sich, quote, tief besorgt, sprach von einer Provokation seitens Peking und Moskau. Er verwies darauf, dass die Übung zeitlich mit dem Abschluss eines Asienbesuchs von US-Präsident Joe Biden zusammenfiel. So, Moment mal. Ich brauche ein bisschen lecker. Guys, do you like our new microphone stand? It came today. It was supposed to come yesterday, but Amazon has been on its shit lately. In a good way. Okay, anyway, so this says, this has apparently caused rage among China's dictatorial leadership. And to go along with that, they're now engaged in a military exercise, also referred to as a war game, with Russia. This is scary stuff, to say the least. Okay, going on. Russia and China employed coordinated patrol flights in the Asia-Pacific region. The Russian Ministry of Defense shared on Tuesday that the exercise lasted around 13 hours. Among other things, strategic bombers from both militaries were involved. These flights took place over regions such as the Sea of Japan and the East China Sea. This next sentence is kind of weird, so bear with me. I understand what they're saying, but just like, I don't know, like German syntax can just be really weird sometimes, and it makes it a little harder to decipher it and put it into English. But it basically says, im Flugschatten der Jet, so literally like in the flight shadows of these jets. So basically like in the shadows, you know, of these patrolling flights, you know, at certain times there were Japanese and South Korean Air Force planes that were kind of like, you know, monitoring the situation. And so then it goes on. Japan's defense minister, Nobuo Kishi, appeared, quote, deeply concerned and spoke of a provocation on the part of Beijing and Moscow, who are, I mean, obviously in cahoots. It says he pointed out that The timing of the exercise coincided with the conclusion of US President Joe Biden's visit to Asia. What a coinkydink! I'm sure that was pure happenstance that, they decided to pull this stuff the week that Biden was visiting. I mean, it's clear as day that Russia, at this point, is just trying to flex on everyone. And China is nothing more than their cheerleader at this point. They're both so far up each other's asses, and they have been for a while, just to be clear. I think, I'm not a geopolitical expert by any means, but I think, at the end of the day, they just feel so threatened by the West, and Western dominance, so to speak, that they've just said fuck it, basically, at this point. Like, they don't give a shit about us, they don't give a shit about, the UN, they don't give a shit about NATO, like, all they're concerned with, I think, is flexing their military muscle. And that's exactly what this little episode here was. All of these moves over the past year or so have been extremely calculated and strategic. Like, for instance, how Russia waited until right after the Olympics were over to actually, go through with the invasion. Like, literally a few days after the closing ceremony was when they pulled the trigger, so to speak. And Russia sucking up to China is nothing new. Obviously, they've been doing this for years now because, they want military aid and whatever else. And to be clear, this isn't the first military exercise they've jointly organized. I think they just did one, like, last year. I don't remember the specifics, but, nothing brings people together more than a common enemy. That's just the sad truth of the situation. So, we'll see how far it escalates. I'm hoping it's not anything crazy, but you never know. I mean, these people are unhinged, and they're not concerned with taking away human life. I mean, Putin has obviously made that clear. And it's just a tragic situation. It's just, a few power-hungry individuals and their egos are causing such destruction. But anyway, the article goes on. Biden traf sich zum Abschluss seiner 4-tägigen Reise am Dienstag in Tokio mit den Regierungschefs Japans, Australiens und Indiens. Nach japanischen Angaben war es der 4. Vorgang dieser Art seit November. Zugleich war es nach US-Angaben die erste gemeinsame Militärübung Chinas und Russlands seit dem Beginn des Kriegs in der Ukraine am 24. Februar. Wir denken, das zeigt, dass China weiterhin willens ist, sich eng mit Russland abzustimmen, auch durch militärische Zusammenarbeit, sagte ein ranghoher US-Regierungsvertreter. China entfernt sich nicht von Russland. Stattdessen zeige die Übung, dass die Volksrepublik bereit sei, Russland im Osten zu unterstützen, während es im Westen kämpfe. Peking bestätigte die Flüge. Sie seien Teil einer regelmäßigen jährlichen Militärübung. Sorry, I'm talking fast, but we're almost at the 15-minute mark. Trying to get these last few points in. So it says, Biden concluded his 4-day trip by meeting with the heads of Japan, Australia, and India in Tokyo on Tuesday. According to statements from Japan, this was the 4th operation of this type since November. Likewise, according to US data, this was the first joint military exercise between China and Russia since the war in Ukraine began on February 24th. Quote, we believe this shows that China continues to be willing to coordinate closely with Russia, including via military cooperation, says a high-ranking government official. A high-ranking U.S. government official. Quote, China has remained close to Russia. On the contrary, the exercise is a sign of the country's readiness to support Russia on the Eastern Front while war is going on in the West. Beijing confirmed the flights. They're said to be part of a regular annual military exercise.